As an entrepreneur, your most valuable resource is your attention, and most people are leaking it at an alarming rate. You're leaking it, you're giving it away, you're spending it on things that don't actually matter. And in this video, we're going to talk about focus and the framework I have for it so that we can fix that so 2025 can be your best year. Let's go ahead and talk about focus. Now, most of you are familiar with the traditional acronym for focus, which stands for follow one course until successful. And although that is absolutely true, it's one of my favorite acronyms for the word, I came up with a framework for this word. And I know none of you have ever heard this framework because I literally just made it up 2 hours ago when I was walking my dog. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it so that you can make more money this year. Now, the F in focus, it stands for this: follow one objective. All right, some of you are going to be able to read that, some of you won't. All right, hopefully that's all spelt right, but it stands for follow one objective. If you guys can't see it because of the light, I'm going to say it for you: follow one objective. What do I mean, follow one objective? The reality is, the reason most people don't accomplish their goal isn't because they're lacking in resources or they're lacking in skill or they're even lacking in time. It's because they're lacking in the sticking with it. They're trying to do multiple things all at once. In fact, last night, I drove up about an hour in town because I had two friends who were here. They're amazing real estate investors. They own RV parks and condominiums and houses and short-term rentals all over the place. Awesome, awesome people. And they built their portfolio one objective at a time. And so right now they're in the phase of their life where they are buying RV parks and they're teaching other people how to do the same. And they just did a workshop the last 2 days. And while we were hanging out at one of their properties, the other people, there were about 12 other investors there. I was talking to the other investors. They're newer, the other investors, the other 12, asking them, what are you focused on? What are you doing? And one gentleman I remembered, and if you're watching this, I love you, man, told me, I'm running a property management company. I said, awesome. So he said, oh, and I have my own properties. I said, okay, cool, that makes sense. If you got a property management company, you probably have your own properties in there. And I'm also running a lending business, okay? And I'm also looking at getting into the RV parks. I'm like, dude, come on, you're killing me now. See, what he doesn't realize is he's taking his attention and he's dividing it and going in way too many different directions. And so effectively, this is what it looks like right now, what he's doing. This is him, and let's say he's got 8 units of energy. He's taking those 8 units of energy and he's doing this. We're going in every direction, right? And in order to accomplish anything, let's just say that accomplishment happens when you make it out here. But as you see, none of these arrows are making it far enough to accomplish anything. And so this is his property management, and this is his short-term rental, and this is the long-term rental, and then this is the lending business, and then this is the family, then this is his health, and then this is his networking, and then this is the RV business. And he's trying to do all of it all at once. And I want you to remember this saying for a minute. You can have everything in your life that you want, just not all at the same time. That's what you got to understand. You can have everything, just you can't have it all at once. And so instead, I started explaining to him last night. I said, listen, man, it's really cool what you're up to, and I'm glad you're excited, but I want to see you win. And ultimately, what would make that happen is if you start to concentrate your attention on one thing and, quite frankly, cut out everything else. Because here we take the same units of energy, and now all we did was we moved them in the same direction. And look at what happens. Not only does he pass the threshold of results and he's able to produce, but he's actually so much further past that threshold that he is way down here where extraordinary results occur. And this is what I want for you. I want you to be out in that place where extraordinary results occur. And that comes from picking one objective, having a singular target, having a single finish line, and locking in to that single finish line. When you're working, are you working towards one thing or not? See, the reality is when you choose your objective and you pick your objective clearly, everything you do will then be in alignment of moving you closer or further away. The reality is a lot of people, for example, they suck at prioritizing. What is prioritizing, Marlon? I'm glad you asked. Prioritizing is when you look at your entire to-do list and you identify the most important thing that needs to be done. Well, Marlon, I've got 12 most important things. No, you don't. Shut up. You only have one most important thing because by nature of the word we use, most important, there can only be one most important. It's kind of like asking who's your favorite kid. At the end of the day, a parent's going to say, well, I love them equally both, but that's not the truth. There is one kid you like more than the other. That's just human nature. There's only one most important in your life, in your business, in your goals. And so what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to choose what's the goal, what's the objective, what's the finish line, so that we can figure out, instead of what's the most important, think about it like this: what direction do I need to head in that will get me closest to my destination, that will get me closer to the destination? All right, now, man, wiping off the whiteboard is such a satisfying thing. I don't know why that is. I just enjoy wiping off the whiteboard. Hope y'all getting some value from this focus framework, because we're going to talk about the O in focus, and this is for ownership. I'm not talking about owning people, crazy folks. We don't do that no more. No, no, no. Ownership. The O in ownership is talking about the ownership of, really, I like to say two things: ownership of your decisions and ownership of your time. And so what do I mean ownership of your decisions? Well, guys, when you make a decision, the root for the word decision, I believe it was Latin. It comes from, guys, someone fact check me on this because I'm going to totally mess with the pronunciation. You know what? I can't even remember how to pronounce it, so I'll get that for you later. But I'm going to tell you what the word decision. Originally, when the word decision was created, it stood for to cut off. It meant when you make a decision, you are cutting yourself off from all other options. And so I want you to own your decision, which means if you said, this year I'm going to be a real estate wholesaler, I'm going to go out and wholesale 70 deals, or I'm going to go wholesale 50 deals, or whatever number you came up with. Or this year you said, I'm going to go and get into e-commerce, or I'm going to start a SaaS business, whatever. I'm going to start a marketing agency. You have to own that decision. Cut yourself off from every other option until you bring home the gold, until you bring home the bacon. Like, this is straight up do or die. Get rich or die trying. I'm not coming home until I achieve the goal. Own that decision. Take freaking ownership of the choices, of the words that come out of your mouth, of the roads you say you're going to walk down. And if you did that, if I stopped right here and all you started doing differently in your life was you started taking ownership of your decision and you chose one thing, and you said, I'm going to do that one thing and I'm going to lock in and I'm taking ownership. I said those words. Yep, that was me. Yep, I stood up on the desk. Yep, I made the YouTube video. Yep, I went on Instagram and told everybody I was going to do this. Yep, I bought the course. Yep, like that's me. I'm taking ownership of it, unrelenting ownership. Your life will be exponentially better. You wouldn't even need to watch the rest of this video. I'm that damn convicted on the belief that if you take ownership of your decision, your life is going to change in 2025 exponentially and nothing will be able to stop you. Along with taking ownership of your decision, take ownership of your time. And yeah, I know I look down, I'm not even wearing a watch. In fact, I just have these bracelets and a Whoop. That's all I got. I don't have a watch right now. I'm sorry. If anyone wants to buy me a watch, I'll give you my address to shoot me a DM. I'll take a Rolex. I'll take whatever other cool watches are out there. So taking ownership of your decisions and taking ownership of your time. Ownership of your time means you should be in control of your calendar. So many times I see people not take ownership of their time because, one, they don't plan things on their calendar, and two, they allow other people to interrupt their calendar. They let their phone, they let notifications tell them what they're going to do. They let incoming calls dictate their decision in their day. That's a terrible way to live. That's a reactive person. I don't want that sort of person around me. I'm not partnering with that type of person. I don't really want to hire that kind of person. I don't want to be friends with that kind of person. That's a reactive human being, and a reactive human being is not producing. They are not a causation. They are an effect. I don't want to deal with effects. I want to deal with causes, because causes create effects. Causes create results. So the F and the O in focus stand for ownership. Ownership of what? Your decisions and your time. Let's talk about the C. The C stands for something that the fellows are afraid of. Ooh, I don't know who just got hurt right there. Commit. The C stands for commit, all right? This is the thing that your lady's been asking you to do for the last 4 years. I mean, dudes, come on, for real. If you've been dating her for 4 years and you still haven't decided if she's the one, what are you doing? You're wasting time, bro. Yeah, I said that. She didn't pay me to say that, right, Ashley? All right, so commit. C is for commit, right? And so what does it mean to commit? Here's my opinion on committing, all right? And this is the framework I teach. People pay me a lot of money to help them achieve goals, six-figure earners, seven-figure earners who are stuck financially, who want to break through to the next level. And when we sit down, what I discover is that person has not committed. They stopped committing. At one point, they committed to their goals and they said, come hell or high water, I'm going to make it happen. And somewhere along the way, they started entertaining other options. The fact that they're even asking me, well, should I do this? Should I do that? No, dude, you can't. See, look, if I burn the boats, you couldn't even begin to ask me, should I get back on the boat? And so you're not committed, and that's killing the progress you're trying to make. Because you're not committed, you're never able to put 100% in. And what's required to unlock that next level, what's required to unlock, Super Saiyan God mode, to unlock the blue hair, to unlock Ultra Instinct, is you need to be 100% in, do or die. Now, something else that's interesting about the commit portion of this is a lot of people we just passed January 2025, right? So it was New Year's, new me, New Year's resolutions, that kind of thing. Some of you made those, some of you didn't. And listen, I'm a fan of New Year's resolutions. I think people need anniversaries. It helps them to reset. And typically on the anniversary, there's 2 anniversaries people always reset at. One of which is the world's anniversary, aka New Year's, and the second is their own anniversary when it's their birthday. Those are typically the times where you will see people decide, I'm going to do something new, I'm going to regain control, I'm going to unleash the power within. That's a Tony Robbins reference. Some of you know that, some of you don't, whatever. And we're talking about committing. When they start to set those goals, some of you have heard of SMART goals, the SMART. I forget what the S, M, A, and R stand for, but I remember what the T stands for, and it stands for time bound. Now, I personally don't like SMART goals. I personally don't use SMART goals. I personally don't even use goals with the S because I like to set one goal. So I like to focus on a goal. And when I commit to that goal, there's this idea of having a time-bound goal, right? So giving yourself a time limit for its acquisition. I believe in utilizing a clock and utilizing a calendar to help me have a sense of urgency and to know when deadlines are. But the reality is you don't always know. In fact, 99% of the time, you will not know how long it's going to take you to accomplish something that you've never done before. In fact, humans are notoriously terrible at estimating the length of time they think a task will take them, right? Ask yourself, have you ever sat down and you gave yourself 30 minutes to do something and you realize like, oh my gosh, this is a 3-hour job, not a 30-minute job. And so we suck at estimating how long it's going to take us. And I bring this up to say that when you set a goal and it really matters to you and you commit, it means I'm committing for the length of time that is until I'm done, until I accomplish, until I have created the reality and the results that I want is how long I will do this. That is a different mindset. In fact, I want you all to remember this saying. It's the lazy don't know how to start. The losers don't know how to finish, aka they can't commit. The champions don't know how to stop. And so when you commit, you are a person that does not stop. And so I like to bring people back to when I first got started in real estate. October of 2019, I go to this 3-day mentorship and I end up buying a mentorship program for $25,000, which was literally every penny I had and then some, because I actually had to borrow money from my family, my uncle, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend at the time. I maxed out credit cards. I did everything I could to get this information, to get this mentorship, to go and learn how to become a real estate investor. And I'm grateful that I did that. One of the best decisions personally that I ever made, because I'm a champion. I'm not a loser. I finish what I start. And so I followed through and I committed to the program, was able to produce results. But the interesting thing is October 2019, just about the end of the year, I decide to, like January 1st, we're really going to hit the ground running. And I set my New Year's resolutions. And I remember what my goal was on January 1st for 2020 was by December 25th, I don't know why I decided Christmas and not December 30th, but I said December 25th of 2020, I am going to make $1 million. I'm going to do $1 million in real estate investing. And that was my goal. And, you know, it's such a generic goal. I think every single entrepreneur, like, let me know in the chat, how many of you guys when you started your business, year one, your financial goal was $1 million? I think that is literally, it's either $1 million or $10,000 a month. There's something about those two numbers that just like scream, I'm a new entrepreneur, but I made it. And so I'm a new entrepreneur and I'm going to make it. I set that goal for $1 million. By the end of 2020, I think I made a grand total of $8,000. I'm not kidding. Like I did not make a lot of money at all in 2020. And maybe it was a little bit more than 8,000. Probably a little less than 20,000. I probably made the exact amount of money I would have made had I kept working, which was like around $24,000. So I don't remember exactly how much I made in 2020. It was not a lot, not a meaningful amount. I totally felt like a loser, but I didn't stop. I stayed committed. And I eventually hit my $1 million year, but it wasn't until December of 2023 that I was able to do $1 million of revenue in a single year. And so what would have happened if I was time bound and I said, like most people, well, it didn't happen. My goal's stupid. I got to go and switch and pick something else because this is the wrong goal. See, most people don't achieve their goal, not because they're the wrong fit, but they just simply, they stop too soon. Your goal is a relationship. I need you to fall in love. I need you to get married to this girl. I need you to get married to this goal, which means through sickness and through health, for better or for worse, you're going to be there for this goal. So choose wisely. All right, let's get into the U. The U in focus stands for, let me upgrade you, wanna upgrade you. I think that's a Beyonce song, right? Upgrade. When I say upgrade, here's the reality. When you pick that one goal and you take ownership of that decision, you take ownership of that time, and you say, I'm going to see my way to this, the reality is the reason you haven't already achieved the goal is because you are not yet the person who that goal happens for. Like, you have not yet become the person. And in order to become the person, there are skills and characteristics that you need to acquire, that you need to go and install in yourself. Think of it like a video game. Ooh, just burped. Had cereal with protein powder before I came up here. Think of it like a video game. When you're playing a video game, most video games, you start off at level 1 with level 1 equipment. You got level 1 shield, level 1 armor, level 1 attack, level 1 skill set, level 1 knowledge, speed, health, all that stuff. And as you play the game, you've got to go out and acquire things to level up so that you could take on bigger bosses, you could do more in the game, unlock different attributes and all that fun stuff. And so your goal is going to require you to do the exact same thing. See, it would be a disservice. A lot of you think like, well, no, if you just gave me $1 million, I'd be good. It'd be so much easier for me to scale business if I just had more money, or if I just had more deal flow, or if I just had this and that. And you're just like, you're wanting to skip the line. You're wanting to skip to the league without practicing. And imagine I took a junior varsity player from a basketball team at the age of 14. I pulled him off the bench and I said, look, you're going to the NBA, kid. You're going to go play for the Lakers. Greatest opportunity ever, right? Because that's what we all want. We want to play for the Lakers. We want to be on top. And you threw that kid in the game. What would happen? The weight of the pressure would destroy him. It would be too early for the opportunity because he has not yet upgraded his skill set. And so when you are focusing, recognize that you're going to have to upgrade your skill set, and you want to set aside intentional time for the development of yourself, in particular to the skills that are necessary to become the person or to achieve the goal. So if you're in business and entrepreneurship, one of those skills, for example, I can't find a single business owner who's ever done extremely well that did not learn sales skills, that did not learn sales. And you might be thinking like, well, I know people who were never salesmen. What are you talking about? I didn't say that they were never salespeople. I just said they learned sales skills. Because communicating, sharing your idea with the world, getting the world to catch your vision. A CEO, every CEO is a salesperson. In fact, how many of you put a comment, yes, comment me, put some fire in the chat if you are a salesperson, right? And the reality is if you didn't put fire in the chat, What that tells me is you don't understand yourself, because the reality is we're all in sales. Every last one of you is a salesperson. Every time you meet another human being and you say hello, guess what? You are selling yourself. So we're all in sales. If you're married, guess what? You sold yourself to get into that deal. In fact, some of you are still trying to close that deal, if you know what I'm talking about. We got to upgrade our skills. And finally, the S in focus stands for, this one's my favorite. I added a double S. We don't need two S's. Come on. You know, I get like anxiety when I've got to spell words. My dad, when I was in elementary school, told me that my spelling was atrocious. And ever since then, I gave up on learning how to spell. So I use spell check for everything. Being on this whiteboard is a big whoo for me. Like this is, I upgraded myself to be on this whiteboard. S stands for simplify. Okay, when I say simplify, I want you all to, we're gonna erase this whole whiteboard because we're gonna talk about simplify. This one is important. This is worth all the marbles if we're playing a game. Speaking of marbles, there's a great marble analogy that I do about focus. Learned that one from Alex Hormozy. Some of you know what I'm talking about, others do not. All good. All good. For simplify, here's the formula, the secret Krabby Patty formula that I want you to learn. Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formuloni. All right, gotta make it neat here. Even though you guys still probably won't be able to read it. It's all good. I'll explain it. Hold on one second. Simplify. Less equals more. Less equals more. That is the equation. That is like, if mathematically you were trying to figure out the formula to success, less equals more, it's up there. Like that's one of the fundamentals. This is like the Pythagorean theorem of success. Less equals more. And so simplify means rather than trying to add so much more, like in 2025, rather than trying to add more things on, your job is to actually remove things from your calendar, remove things from your life, remove friction from your product and your process and from your customers and from their lives. Like that's where the value is. It's actually in the removal of things. In fact, when you look at companies like Apple, Steve Jobs had Apple, and that company is what we call an innovative company. It changed the way we life. Because if you have an Android, you're living in the cave, the Stone Age. If you have an Apple, you understand how revolutionary it is that all of your products speak to each other. Your laptop speaks to your iPad, it speaks to your cell phone, it speaks to your TV. And so you can literally, if you've got an Apple suite of products, you can go anywhere in the world and plug into effectively your own computer anywhere you go, regardless of what device you're on. And the way that that company has gone on to take over the computing space is by removing the friction with the user experience. See, computers were around before Apple's. In fact, they're PCs that, quite frankly, they do much more than Macs can do, than the iOS operating system. However, why is Apple so dominant? It's because they made the user experience so intuitive by removing all forms of friction. By taking things away, they actually were able to do more for the user. And so less equals more. When you start to understand this for your business and for 2025, when you have that goal, start to look at simplifying. Start to look at, don't say like, all right, well, in order for us to make more money, we need to add, 14 more strategies and 20 different product lines. Like, no. One thing. Become competent at one thing. And the next best way I can explain this is, imagine you needed to go get a serious brain surgery and you have the choice between two doctors. One doctor is a general practitioner. He knows a little bit about everything. Like he's been reading every sort of kind of book. He's always here, he's always there. And then you have another doctor, and this is a surgeon. And not only is the surgeon a surgeon, he's a brain surgeon. And this brain surgeon happens to only work on and perform the exact surgery that you need. That's the only type of surgery he's capable of doing. He literally doesn't know how to do anything else except for that one surgery. Which one do you want operating on you? Exactly. Now, why would you want that person? He only does one thing. Exactly, because he only does one thing. When you go into the marketplace and you're trying to compete with everybody and you're doing what they're all doing and you're trying to beat them by doing more of all the things, the reality is you would beat them by ignoring all the 20 things that they're doing and focus on doing the one thing that you do well and become world class at it. Trying to build the biggest building in town by tearing everyone else's building down or trying to build 12 buildings at once is a fool's errand. Instead, focus on building the one tallest building that you can build. So this is the focus framework. You'll be seeing me talk about this a lot in 2025. What I wanted to see from you is if you were taking notes, which you should have been taking notes. If you didn't take notes, go back and rewatch this video. Take your personal notes and share your notes in the comment. And like always, if you got value from this video, make sure you leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and let us know in the comments what you think.